So welcome. This is an informational webinar about the area delegate role, the what, where, and how, apparently. I am Lindsay. I am from Indiana. I am 5 years in the program, and I just started my second term as delegate here in Indiana. And if anybody else is from Indiana, I am looking for an alternate. So just so you know. We will go kind of over what this role is, what the terms are, and kind of what the manual says are the responsibilities of the area delegate. What is an area delegate? So essentially, area delegates are representing the individual groups within a geographical area, geographical, not geological, it's not rocks. Geographical area. So say I am the area delegate for Indiana. I am representing all of the registered groups within Indiana. We also have groups within the country of Canada. There are now 13 areas in Canada. And then we have our phone meeting delegate now and a virtual meeting delegate position, which was just created this past World Service Conference. So all in all, there are 66 separate possible positions for area delegates in North America. Now, this is just for the North America structure. The other countries are kind of creating their own structures and doing their own thing kind of loosely based on this, but this in particular is just for North America. The ADs are elected by a specific area, and we serve the S-Anon Fellowship as a whole. So even though I am representing the groups for Indiana, when the area delegates meet, the idea is to kind of serve the S-Anon Fellowship as a whole. So we are discussing and sharing information between each other to try to solve issues or questions or problems within our individual groups. And then alternate delegates. So while we have a main delegate who is elected into that position and serves a 3-year term, we also have the possibility for alternate delegates. So alternate delegates is somebody who's going to support the main area delegate in attending meetings or answering emails or kind of however they decide within their own particular partnership to kind of work that particular area. And then once the idea, hopefully, is that once that term for that current area delegate is over, the alternate delegate is able to step up, hopefully, into that position once elected. All of this information, by the way, can be found in the service manual on the sanon.org website under the member section. This is the big, long copy paste that I got out of the service manual. This is the area delegate mission. We are supposed to carry the voice of the fellowship to the World Service Conference. The World Service Conference happens every year in July, typically at the International Convention. Until the last 2 years, that has been in person. The Friday of the convention, we would start in the morning and we would discuss motions, which are usually presented by March of that year. We go back to our groups, we discuss the motions, we receive their feedback on that, and then we take that feedback with us to the World Service Conference, but then vote as we and our conscience see fit. So we have that information with us from our groups, from our areas, but there's a lot that happens during the World Service Conference when it comes to these motions, a lot of discussion pro and against, and sometimes it completely changes what you thought you understood about that motion. And so you can't just vote the way that your groups said that they wanted to vote on it because they did not have that information when they gave you that feedback. So you kind of just have to take their general feedback and then apply it with as your conscience sees fit. I think it's just the best way to say that. We are representing the individual groups. This does not include the intergroups, which are not an official part of our service structure, is the individual groups from your assigned area. This is the service structure for North America. So you see we have the delegate side here, and then we have the board of trustees. The delegates are the traditional service structure, whereas the board of trustees are our legal service structure. The delegates have our trusted servants, the local group members, and then the area delegates that represent those local groups. Within the area delegates, you'll see that we have 66 possible areas. We currently have 21 active delegates, meaning that we have 45 unrepresented areas within North America, which does include Canada. There are a number of areas that also do not have any current meetings, and those are counted within this 45, but we would also love to see more meetings happening in some of these states. I believe there are about 6 states right now that don't have any meetings out of our 50. On the BOT side, you have your BOT officers, your WSO executive director, your BOT committee chairs, and then your regional trustees. So there are 8 regions. So you'll see that you have the groups, the area delegate, the regional trustees kind of oversee that larger area, and then the BOT officers. And then the executive director for our World Service Office serves on our BOT to just help with the actual application of information and making sure that the WSO is working closely with the BOT so everything's as smooth as possible. There's a map on S-Anon.org under the members section where you can click on the different little pins. And if it is vacant, it'll let you know that it is vacant. If it is not vacant, it does provide an email for that particular position. So you can kind of see how things are covered and where kind of some of our holes are. How do you become an area delegate? So the feedback that I have received is that this tends to be the largest area that people get tripped up because there is not a checklist of how you become an area delegate. Obviously, you have the interest in becoming an area delegate, and you could go to your area if there is an intergroup. The intergroup can always assist in creating an election process within your area. Indiana does not have an intergroup. So we just reached out to all of the individual groups within Indiana and said, here's my service resume, which had like nothing on it outside of the group level. And I would like to be considered for this delegate role. And sometimes you'll get some feedback on that, and sometimes you won't, and you got to move forward with that. We've got some experience and some suggestions with that later. Hopefully you'll be able to organize an official election and you can be elected by those particular groups to be the area delegate for your group. The terms are a 3-year term and you can serve 2 consecutive terms. If you want to continue to serve after that, they do ask that you take a year in between your terms. So theoretically, you could serve 6 years as an area delegate. You could serve a year on the policy committee. And then if you and your higher power and your sponsor decide that it's a good move for you, you could go back for another 2 terms to the area delegate position. If that was something that worked out for you, you would just need that year break in between. Benefits of being an area delegate. So there are lots of benefits to being an area delegate. This is just a few that the committee came up with. Me personally, it really helped me understand my program in a way that I had not perceived before. I can go to my meetings and I can do it on an individual basis, but I had no idea my level of need to control things until I became an area delegate. And me trying to go in there with my gung-ho control attitude really did not serve me or the other members very well. And I very quickly had to learn to let that go and to work with others. And that has been amazing growth for me within my program, for sure, that I would not have gotten without doing this role. But but it's really allowed me to expand my S-Anon network as well, which has been amazing. There's so many members that I would not have met without this role, that I would not have connected with without this role. And that has really found me some lifelong friends, and people within this program that really understand me, not just on a level of being an S-Anon, but on so many other levels because of the experiences that we have shared together. So this has just been a huge growth opportunity, being an area delegate. When we do have in-person conventions, there's definitely the travel, and there is really nice. And, there's some assistance with that and being the area delegate role, and just, a further understanding and education when it comes to traditions and concepts. Not all individual groups really dive into those two things, but being in the area delegate role has really allowed me to expand my education to a deeper level when it comes to the traditions and the concepts that I wouldn't have had. So I see so many things, so many benefits in becoming an area delegate. Or you can always email me, indianadelegate@sanon.org. I am happy to meet with you as well. These are the different resources that we use within this webinar. Like I said, the service manual is available on the member.sanon.org website. The service structure is also within there. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for attending. And just like I said, please let us know, take this information back to your home groups and just spread the word. I mean, I definitely think our biggest issue is just communication. People want to know, they hear about these roles and, in discussions and stuff, but getting that information and having people to reach out to is sometimes a hurdle. So if you can spread this information, that would be really